r/AskReddit. Police officers of Reddit, what are the most ridiculous cover stories you've heard from people you were questioning? I was with the officer when this happened. Some kids were shooting bottle rockets, no big deal, but they were in an area where there had been some burglaries, so we checked it out. There were 3 of them when we pulled up, maybe 14 years old. Here's the thing though, they were pretty well cornered. On one side was a pond, where we could easily catch them. On another side was a huge fence with barbed wire. And finally there was one side with an unclimbable embankment that lead to some railroad tracks. Like I said, we had them cornered. 2 of them take off for the embankment and hide in the trees/grass, while one runs towards the fence. Well, the 2 that ran for the embankment were pretty well hidden, but Mr. Solo realized the fence had barbed wire, panicked, and decided to lay flat on his belly in ankle-high grass hoping we couldn't see him. We walked up and asked him to get to his feet. Nothing. We repeated the directions. Do you know what he did? He rolled over, faked the biggest yawn he could muster, and started stretching this way and that. Then he asked, "Sorry, what?" I was just sleeping. The whole scene was too funny, so the officer and I start hysterically laughing. Tell the kid he's not in trouble, and remind him not to run from the police. This kid really thought he could pretend he just woke up from a nap, after we had just watched him sprint across the field and lay down. Good times. Called to the library for a loud drunken moron. Was going to give him a ride somewhere to sober up. Is there anything in your pockets I need to know about? I dunno, these ain't my pants. Not your pants? Nope. Pulled them out the lost and found and put them on cause I needed some pants. What happened to you pants? I dunno. I woke up, my boys were gone, and I ain't have no pants. Pat him down well. Whoever left these pants is going to be pissed they left their spice in the pocket. No man, that's weed. I don't smoke that fake bullshit. My aunt works for the RCMP in Canada. She told me this story. Apparently many years ago some lady called 911 claiming some random person rang the doorbell. She opened the door. The person burst in and threw her relatively newborn baby in their pool and ran away. She didn't know how to swim, so she couldn't dive in and get it. What actually happened was, she made that all up, and it was her who threw her own baby into the pool to drown and die. She did it because by the time the doctors had found out the baby would be a special needs, it was too late for an abortion. She didn't want to be embarrassed by having a child like that. The cops found this all out after tapping her phone for several years. She admitted it to some relative in her home country on a phone call 8 years after the incident. I'm Air Force Security Forces, Air Force MP. One day I got dispatched to a call about a guy stealing little bottles of wine from the Class 6 store, the store that sells alcohol, guns, car parts, tools, sporting goods, that kind of stuff. Well, I get there, handcuff the guy, get statements from the manager and cashier, and then search the guy before I put him in my car to go back to the squadron. Well, while searching him, I found a total of 30 mini bottles on him. 30. I know our uniforms have a lot of pockets, but damn. Anyways, the entire time he's claiming that he didn't do anything wrong. He wasn't stealing them, blah blah blah. Though he said it. I swear to God, sir, those were water. When I put them in there, Jesus must have turned them into wine. Edit. There was also the lady who shit herself, but then claimed that she just sat on some chocolate. Underage drinking my ass off freshman year of college at a house party. Cops show up, everyone falls silent, except the guy who owns the house and his best friend. They are both utterly shit-faced, in the middle of a game of beer pong, and very focused on that. Guy #1 only has to make one score on the other guy and he wins. Cops are necking up on them, making the motion towards us party goers as they approach my friend from behind. He raises up his hand to throw the ball, and realizes that everyone has fallen silent because there are 2 cops in the room both staring at him. He makes eye contact with them, looks defeated, lowers his arm, and one of the cops says, "No, no, make the shot. If you make it, we'll just tell you to keep it down. No pressure," yells the other cop. Both of them are cracking up. My friend screws up his face, focusing hard. He shoots, he scores. Much cheering from everybody, including the cops, and true to their word, they only asked us to keep it down. Nobody got in any trouble, and it was awesome. So suck on that, old ass neighbors who called the cops because they decided to move into a college neighborhood, lol. A guy I caught masturbating in a park. His excuse was I took a lot of cocaine last night and I needed to check it was still working. In interview with a woman for shoplifting, we have CCTV of her shoplifting then walking out. She was wearing the same clothes as she was in the CCTV. I didn't go in. We have CCTV showing you going in and stealing. No you don't. It's here goes to click play. No don't click play, I don't wanna watch it. It's not me, go away. So what did you do? I went in to try on some Macup. You just said you didn't go in. I didn't. Right. Edit. It wasn't Donald Trump, but I'm sure the two would get along well. My brother's roommate from college is a cop in Pittsburgh. They were just on patrol after a Wiz Khalifa concert, and it was him and 2 other cops in their squad car, unmarked police car. He's in the passenger seat with another cop in the back, just kind of monitoring the crowd to make sure no one gets out of hand. His partner driving the car gets out of it and is talking on the phone as someone jumps into the driver's seat and tries to steal the cop car with 2 cops in it. He yells, "Get out of the fucking car, you're under arrest." She claimed she wasn't going to steal it, but rather just drive the 2 or 3 blocks to her car because she didn't want to walk. Stop a car for a traffic violation. Male driver. Female passenger. Ask for both of their IDs because neither have a seatbelt on. Driver says he doesn't have a DL, but gives me a name. I ask him who the female is sitting next to him, and he says her name is Danielle and she's his wife. Ask her to spell her full name, and she tries to tell me her first name is Sarah. Ask the guy for vehicle registration and he says it's not his car. Ask who the car belongs to, and he just says Gary. I ask for Gary's last name and he doesn't know it. Ask where Gary is, and he tells me Gary is in Long Beach. Long Beach. Yeah. We are 2,000 miles away from Long Beach. Guy tells me Gary is letting him test drive it because he might buy it. They both had felony warrants and a few pounds of meth was in a fake keg of Heineken in the back seat. Not police, but a lawyer. Had a guy come in for a consult about defending against a restraining order. He swears up and down that he's not stalking this poor girl, that it's just a big coincidence that she keeps seeing him following her. Like, she claims he was following her in this Walmart, but he was really just there by coincidence, stopping on the way home from a class to pick up contact solution. Except, based on where his school was and where he lived, he literally had to cross the entire city at rush hour to get to the Walmart closest to where she lived, instead of going to either the Walmart close to the school or the one close to his house. Or, that time she claimed that he was trying to duck down in his car to avoid being seen watching her at a fast food parking lot on a busy road. He says that he was just driving to class in the afternoon, but suddenly became incredibly tired, so he just pulled off into this fast food parking lot on a noisy street at rush hour to take a nap. It was just total coincidence that she happened to be eating there too, and that suspicious ducking behavior was just him waking up and pulling the seat back up. This fast food restaurant was nowhere near either of their homes, schools or work. Yeah, I didn't believe him either. My stepdad is a police officer, and he told me this story. Not strictly a cover-up but hilarious nonetheless. He works in a rural area, and one day they hauled a guy in who was accused of having sex with a goat. This is not as rare as it sounds around those parts. The man first up openly denied the entire incident despite various pieces of evidence, before confessing that it was indeed him who had been fondling on the farm. The officers then asked what gender was the goat in question. The man, completely outraged, replied female, obviously, I'm not gay. Was watching Cops one time. Buddy told the cop he thought the bag of blow in his pocket was sugar, and he found it on the ground, and yeah, no, you're not just gonna leave a bag of free sugar on the ground. Paramedic here. Dipshit overdoses while speedballing. Girlfriend calls 911. Engine company narcans him before I got there. Reverses the heroin, but now he's in full-blown coke mania. During the course of a healthy and productive debate about his transport to the hospital, he swears up and down that he didn't do heroin. Track marks, needles, history, empty slabs in the room. Once we got him in the truck, he tells me that he totally didn't do heroin, but he suddenly remembered what happened. I was playing a game with girlfriend where we have sex and I pretend to be unconscious and overdosed. That's not marijuana, sir. I was just getting some chives from the neighbor so my girlfriend could make soup. No cover story, just my cop story. Sophomore year of college. Party gets busted at our house. Was upstairs playing WoW like a dork. Came down to the main room where about 7 cops were escorting people out of party. After everyone who wasn't living in the house was gone, the cops ask us to keep it down in the future. One of the cops notices our Xbox and asks if we have Call of Duty. Proceed to play around against the cops. Knife the cop and game. House goes crazy with everyone cheering and the other cops calling their partner a loser. Eventually another cop comes in and looks at half the damned apartment in this single college house. The chief is about to come down because half the damned apartment is here. What the fuck? Cops proceed to book it to avoid getting in trouble. And that's my /r/Thathapan story. No way to prove it unless I start calling up old college friend. Yeah, I'd think all Tuna Park cops would be busy busting heroin rings or something. But for one glorious night in 2009 to 2010, cops and college kids joined together in some fun. Tonight at work I was dealing with 2 middle-aged women. Both were very intoxicated and refused to leave a business. One pissed in an office thinking it was the bathroom and didn't even remember. Her breath reeked of alcohol. She and her partner both said they weren't drunk. Bartender showed me their tab. It was over $200, mostly vodka shots and margaritas. Not a cop, but anyways. My friends and I got busted for something in a very Catholic country by a very Catholic cop. Before getting carted off we are being given a bit of rough housing and threats in our hotel room. We are all in the room together and I made the sign of the cross to testify that I wasn't lying. The cop takes a step back, asks me if I'm Catholic, and I say yes, I'm not. Things start getting a bit of easier for me apart from a light "you should be a better Catholic boy" speech. The cop turns to my friend and asks him the same question. My friend hasn't picked up on much of what just went on and says Protestant he kinda is. Things got a lot worse for him very fast. Suddenly he's the only one that's committed any crime and is suddenly a gay as well. It's a long story, but basically the worst thing you could have said at that moment. My friend, driving a car full of underage drunk people home, was also slightly drunk himself, gets pulled over for a tail light of something and related. During conversation with my friend he asks him if he has had anything to drink tonight. Friend says no sir. Cops asks again, this time followed by "Are you sure? I seem to smell alcohol coming from your car." Friend thinks for a second then responds, "You know what, I was driving around really drunk yesterday. That's probably why my car smells like alcohol." By some divine intervention, instead of getting arrested on spot, the cop actually let my friend go. I flat out told a cop that pulled me over that the weed he smelled was probably a dog fart. The dog looks grumpy as fuck. He just looked at me, raised his eyebrows and let us go. It wasn't a dog fart. I caught up to a car on a highway going well over the speed limit. The driver was also weaving through 3 lanes. After pulling him over, the vehicle came to a stop and began to shake back and forth. I approached the driver's side cautiously and no one was sitting in the driver's seat. The driver, who was the only occupant of the vehicle, had moved across to the front passenger seat and argued that I didn't see him driving because he wasn't in the driver's seat. He went to jail that night. Ford we pulled over a woman for going 59 in a 45. She claimed her speedometer light was out and it was about 9:30, so it was pretty dark. Told her okay, just get me your insurance and registration. She then turned on her lights to find it and the speedometer came on. She cried when we pointed it out. Family member is a retired officer. I was told that people will lie about anything. People will willingly lie about something that will in turn get them in trouble or make them seem incredibly stupid in an effort to hide what they were really doing, which most of the time isn't a big deal. For example, the guy who admitted to a hit and run he never did because at the time of the accident, he was with a gay prostitute and didn't want to admit he's secretly gay. Well, not anymore I suppose. Or the time the drunk guy said he had mental problems and was retarded and couldn't find his nursing home, when in reality he was just a drunk guy walking home who didn't want a public intoxication charge. Like any cop would be mad at a dude who chose to walk instead of drive. Got called to burglary in progress. I was nearby and caught the guy in the backyard. I cuffed him and read him his rights. He told me that he broke the window and went in the house to take the homeowner's marijuana which was just harvested. He assured me that he had every intention of turning in the marijuana to the local police station to get the homeowner in trouble. Thanks for watching UpGoat Reddit. Try like and subscribe button if it still works.